Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Pickett's Pokemon. Today, we are going to be talking about a theory I have with the new PSA and eBay collaboration. Basically, the whole thing is I think there's a conflict of interest here with PSA, basically having a financial incentivization to grade your cards higher. And that's basically the theory, and we're going to test it out. I have a uh, Pokemon Center Snorlax promo that got graded a 9 recently, and I'm going to send it back using the express method for eBay and sell it directly through the eBay PS Vault, just like the deal is. And so, without further ado, here we go. Okay, so if you can see my screen here, here's the PSA website, and this is just basically describing the deal. And essentially, the whole thing is you get a discount, and it's for the express grading process. So if you haven't done grading before, basically Express just guarantees you pay a little bit more of a premium up front for your grading fee, but you're guaranteed a faster return, which is a little better for like more expensive cards. If you want to catch a hype or a increase, that's typically what people will do for that. This one is you get basically a 33% off grading. So instead of the normal price, I don't know what that would be with I've never done the Express, to be fair. Grading, I always do the value bulk, which is like $18.99 a card or something like that. So this one's $99.99 a card. It's pretty steep, which is why I don't do that often. But essentially, the whole deal is you get a discount for the Express. So I'm guaranteed like a 10-day turnaround, I believe is what the turnaround time is. And then immediately, instead of you getting or me getting my card physically back, I basically just get sent to the PSA Vault, which is a digital storage service, and then eBay and PSA sells it directly through the PSA Vault, I guess their eBay page or eBay store, and it starts in an auction at 99 cents. And so basically you can choose the day when it starts the auction. I don't think you can choose the price because it's an auction and not buy it now. You can send things to the PSA Vault and not through this auction deal kind of thing, but this is kind of, you're getting the discount because you're saying I am going to be selling with this. And this is kind of why I think this is a conflict of interest. Not only are you paying PSA to grade your cards, guaranteeing maybe a higher value on that card, which they get profits for, and also you have to pay them more. Let's say it's a 9 or a 10 versus a 10. If let's say the PSA 9 is a couple $100 and PSA 10 is a couple $1,000, like you now owe them additional money to grade that card a 10 instead of a 9, which is already kind of suspect in my opinion. But this is even worse. Like I think they get a cut. It's like a normal cut for below $1,000, just like eBay on trading cards. I think it's like 13% or 13.25%, something around there. But after $1,000, they get an additional 10%. So you really got to be careful with this kind of thing with your fees. And basically, I'm going to try this. I haven't done this before, and this is why I'm going to test my theory. I just wanted to show, like, just for transparency, I do not have any cards in my PSA Vault currently. I did send a bulk submission recently, a value bulk, to get sent to my vault because I wanted to try that as well and sell it through there. I haven't really made a video about that, but I figured this one would be the first video of that, and that the other one's going to take like 3 months or something like that before I even ever see any of those grades. So I wanted to start with the thing that I know I'm guaranteed like a 10-day turnaround, so I can show you the before and after. I also wanted to show just why I think this is a conflict of interest. And if you're not familiar with grading or PSA, and specifically like this card, this PSA or this regular raw Pokemon Center exclusive Snorlax promo is a couple $100 just raw or sealed in the packaging right out of the Pokemon Center exclusive ETB, and already it's a few $100s. And that, granted, this has gone up a little bit recently, which is why I think this is a perfect card to do this on and test this theory out. But you can see a PSA 9 is also, the recent solds are about the same as the raw price, a little bit more, a little bit less, but average is probably about the same. But then you go to the PSA 10 recent solds, and it's crazy the jump that this is already $1,000 jump, and then some. So I think it's very incentivized for a company like PSA to grade your cards or have a little bit more leniency on grading your card a 9 or a 10, because then they get a higher cut. Not only do you owe them more money now to grade your card a 10, which is already how they made their money, was their grading fees, and their subscriptions, but now they get an additional cut on top of that if you agree to sell it through there. So I'm not saying, and by the way, I'm not saying PSA is doing this intentionally. I want to believe that there is some hope in this world and that there isn't an exorbitant amount of greed from PSA, and we can trust them to do this. I have a PSA subscription. I've been grading cards with them for about a year and a half, 2 years now, and I've had no issues really. But this one kind of made me feel a little bit scummy, this deal. So I'm just testing this theory. I'm hoping I'm wrong here, but I just want to show you this additional information to show why I think this is a conflict of interest. All right, so here is my Pokemon Center PSA 9 stamped promo. As you can see here, it's pretty good centering. I think it definitely falls well within the lines of the PSA standards. It's a little thick on the back right here, but I still think it falls with a 75-25 and the 50-45 in the front. Now, if you've never cracked a slab open before, I always like to put it in this plastic bag because I feel like it helps with the cleaning process. It keeps a lot of the plastic bits that kind of can jump everywhere inside the bag while you're cracking it open. I typically try and just use these pliers, and then I also use this little flathead screwdriver to kind of pry it open once I get the corners done. I start with these corners on the right hand side because I feel like that's the easiest to get the screwdriver in, and then I kind of just pry it open with the screwdriver, trying to be as careful as I can not to damage a card. If you've never cracked open a case, this is kind of what it looks like, so hope you enjoy. So here is that card out of the slab, and you can see it's a pretty clean card. The centering is really nice. I don't really see any print lines. There's maybe a little one on the left hand side there, which is very apparent with like most promos. But yeah, the centering is really good, and it's a little big on the back, like I mentioned. But yeah, overall, I feel like this card deserved a 10, and this is why I'm deciding to test with this card. So for PSA standards, we got to put it back in the sleeve and then the semi-rigid card saver to send off. So that's what I'm going to do right here, and then we're going to kick this off and send this off to PSA with the express delivery. All right, we are ready to go. Here is our card back in our semi-rigid card saver. So you can see it's the same card, and I am very excited to test this theory out. I'm definitely going to be making a second video when I get this back, and I'll show all the auction results and things like that. I really am hoping I'm wrong here. I guess this doesn't really prove if my theory is right or not, now that I think about it, but it at least kind of gives me a little bit more ammunition and like thought towards if I want to continue using PSA or not. I think, why wouldn't my card have been graded a 10 the first time? You know, if I didn't do the direct to sell or the vault thing to begin with. And I think this was a 10, and maybe I'm just not as good as recognizing 10, but I feel like I've had some pretty good success with my 10 rate. So anyways, I would love to hear what you guys know in the comments or have experienced. Have you guys either submitted cards through the PSA vault? What's your experience doing the direct collaboration with the Express eBay vault auction sale that I'm doing? Let me know in the comments. Would love to start up a discussion and hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video.